let's redo that. It's probably best if we don't argue. If you don't snipe at me.
For today's episode of the Art of Character podcast, I'm bringing along a guest, Wyatt, with one of his favorite characters, Malcor the Deranged Warlock. So I've played with Wyatt several times, I've DM'd for him several times, and Malcor is just a great example of a character who I love and who Wyatt loves to play. So thanks so much for joining us. Let's roll. All right, so Malcor is like this eldritch barbarian, right?
Librarian.
What did I say?
You said barbarian.
Oh, well, an eldritch barbarian would be, I mean, that could be a thing.
That could be pretty cool. An
eldritch barbarian librarian. Is that what we're doing?
Yep.
Okay. So Wyatt's really great with characters and character voices, and we'll probably have him here on the podcast as one of our recurring guests. And he just does, really, with all the groups that I play with, some of the absolute best character voices, characterizations, and just kind of overall role-playing. And so Wyatt has a bit of a background. When he was in high school, he did a lot of drama, theater, acting, had a lot of leads, and so he does have a little bit of experience doing that. And not everybody has that, but we're hoping that you can just get some ideas for your campaigns. We're hoping you can get some ideas for your campaigns, some things that you might be able to do, or just maybe it'll spur some creativity. So we're going to start off with one of Wyatt's favorite characters, and this guy, he developed this character at depth and really just has a lot of great traits. So, Wyatt, why don't you tell us a little bit about one of my favorite characters, Malcor?
So, Malcor really... First, I thought this is actually pretty rare for me because most of the time I'll fill a spot in a party. Like, they need a healer, I'll do a healer, or they need a paladin. But this time I was like, man, I really want to play a warlock. But what's so cool about warlocks? They're pretty weird. They get their powers from some really weird places. So with Malcor, I was thinking, okay, well, the weirdest of the patrons to me are like the old gods, the great ones, like Cthulhu and all that. So I then figured out his patron for this guy. First, I just thought of this old man, kind of mean and curmudgeonly, but he evolved from there. So it's like, well, he can be more than that. He's not just some bitter wizard. He's insane because of what he knows. His power is like his knowledge is what makes him powerful, and his knowledge drives him insane. And on top of all that, I really just wanted a character that people will remember. That is kind of my goal for most characters, is what would be like the coolest, the weirdest, or like the most badass dude in the tavern. Like if you saw this dude out in public, you'd be like, man, I saw the craziest dude at the market today. And well, that's Malcor. So he is a warlock of the great old one. I just picked Cthulhu. I didn't really research all the other ones too much. And for the source of his power, I thought, well, he could just have a tie to his patron, but that's not weird enough. He literally has a piece of his patron inside of him, like a writhing, angry, malevolent piece of his patron, not only giving him his power, but keeping him alive. Malcor is exceptionally old. He doesn't even know how old he is. He has no real long-term memory other than the knowledge and information he collects for his patron. He's actually, yeah, he's a eldritch librarian is the best way to put him.
All right, so Malcor is like this eldritch barbarian, right?
Librarian.
What did I say?
You said barbarian.
Oh, well, an eldritch barbarian would be, I mean, that could be a thing.
That could be pretty cool.
An eldritch barbarian librarian. Is that what we're doing?
Yep.
Okay, so how about just all right? So
No.
Malcor's an eldritch librarian. So tell us a little bit about what that means and
So Malcor initially, I guess we can go into some backstory. So Malcor originally was a librarian at Candlekeep at 500.
or is an eldritch barbarian, eldritch librarian.
He is a warlock.
Right. I know he's a warlock, but eldritch librarian. All right.
Yeah, so he started out as a librarian at Candlekeep, keeping the records, spell books, scrolls. I haven't even picked a time period that he's from because that just makes the character even better because he doesn't even know his own past, and we'll get to that point. But so he started out as a librarian there, and he had a lover, somebody who he loved and cherished very deeply, who was also one of his colleagues, and they fell very ill, and no healer, no mage, nobody could actually figure out what was wrong with his lover. So he spent the rest of his nights, even shirking some of his duties at Candlekeep, trying to research and figure out, how can I save the one who matters most to me? What do I have to do? And eventually he comes across an old tome speaking of the great old one, and he's like, wait, this great old one has eons of knowledge. Somewhere in there has to be a way to save my lover. So he just keeps reading and researching, and as he delves into this tome, he slowly starts to lose himself. He becomes obsessed with this notion of, how do I save them? And after months, he's basically loses his position at Candlekeep, and he doesn't care. He's just still perusing the tome, and eventually the great old one takes notice of him and realizes how well he is holding in all of these secrets that no mortal brain can really comprehend, but at great expense to himself. And so through delving into this knowledge, he completely forgets why he was even seeking it in the first place, and then finds a new purpose. And
so let's take a step back. All right, so he is trying to comprehend all this knowledge that a normal person shouldn't be able to comprehend, because Cthulhu is kind of the incomprehensible one, right?
Right.
It's hard to understand his motives, desires, and just kind of, what the whole thing even means. So how was Malcor able to understand that?
Well, he's just he's incredibly bright. Some could say a savant. Almost photographic memory when it comes to tomes and texts.
Is it making him a little bit crazy?
Yes, that's what I was saying. The knowledge that he is trying to figure out how to save his lover, he starts to lose himself. And eventually he probably does come across ways to save his lover, but he's forgotten them through his research, because he's become completely engrossed in the secrets of the great old one and who they are. And eventually the great old one reaches out to him, recruits him, and says, I don't exactly know what he said, but he's like, Malcor, you have proven yourself worthy of retaining my secrets, keeping them, gathering them. This book was a test that I put in the mortal realm to try to find others who can help me gather knowledge, because knowledge is power. So Malcor then goes to the great old one's realm and tends to his library for eternity, gathering more tomes, secrets.
He just walks there? Like,
No.
how does he?
He gets pulled.
How does he get there?
He gets pulled there.
All right. What do you mean? So what do you mean? So how does he get pulled there? What are we talking about? Like teleported, or like is going?
So if I can picture it, he's got the tome laid out in his room. The pages all spread out. He's maybe like half nude, hair's all wiry.
If we could just,
what are you
picture it?
Yes, picture it. So he's he's sitting there all disheveled, and he starts reading the final parts of the tome, and then an an image, an effigy of the great old one begins to manifest from the shadows moving as this viscous, inky blackness. That's kind of how I imagine the essence, the power of the old one looks. Just imagine flowing, sentient, angry, evil ink that likes to have tentacles too. So
Is it like smoky?
no,
Is it like
no smoke, just bubbling, broiling, just imagine like the meanest, evilest slime you can think of.
like slime
like an-
and squidding together, kind of?
Like an oil spill is
Oil
out for
spill.
blood.
Yeah. Okay.
So the blackness begins to pour from the pages, and from it the effigy rises and speaks to Malcor and says, "I have noticed you and your efforts. I have noticed you and your efforts. Your brain's capacity for knowledge and secrets astounds even me. I have use for you, mortal. Use beyond this pathetic place, this keep of candles. They cannot hope to house even a minutia of my secrets. Secrets I am willing to share with you if you join me in my grand realm."
What does he look like? This thing
It's-
that you see, is it just like an inky
It would-
void,
it-
or
It would look like a mass of tentacles surrounding a singular eye.
okay?
At least if you know Hermaeus Mora from Elder Scrolls, that's
Okay.
kind of how I picture him.
I see.
Well, at least this image of the god speaking to
Sure.
Malcor. So Malcor says, "Well, yeah, of course. What do you... That sounds like a great deal. I get more knowledge and and power. This is good. Yes, yes." So he eagerly agrees. He jumps in the inky black, and that is really the last time Malcor was ever in his old life. And that, from that point on,
So
eons
what
pass.
happens when he jumped into this void, this like portal or whatever, was invited through, and what was on the other side?
Well, just this sprawling black ocean with islands, ruins, ships, things from different time periods, realms. It just looks like bits of everywhere have gotten trapped here. So there might even be like a modern skyscraper or a UFO or a pirate ship, just things lost to time stuck in this realm. But there's a few castles, buildings that serve the great old one's followers. He lives in the ocean. He doesn't have need. All this stuff is really just for his followers, his peeps. And so Malcor would have been charged with being a librarian still, but this time for the great old one, collecting alien knowledge, secrets, just amassing as much knowledge as he can for the great old one, because again, knowledge is power, and that is Malcor. So you could throw a gold coin in front of him, he wouldn't even budge. You throw a nice juicy encyclopedia, oh baby, he'll take your hand off.
All right.
So he spends the rest of his days tending to this library, and because of the power the great old one is infused, which I may have mentioned before, it's literally a piece of him living inside of Malcor, a symbiotic parasite, this inky black squid creature that gives Malcor his power and also longevity.
Right.
Malcor doesn't remember his past. He might remember flashes of it, but he doesn't know what the heck it is. He's just like, who's this person who keeps appearing? Get out of there. Just maybe he thinks it's bleed over from a different book he read.
Right. All right. So I got to say, that is one of the most thoughtfully and sort of carefully crafted backstory that really just kind of hones in on what it means to be a warlock, right? You basically get your power from an otherworldly being. So What kind of studying did Malcor do or training? I mean, he's given this power, but obviously you need a little bit of training kind of to be
Well,
fully up to
just
speed.
of course,
right?
when he first receives it, when he first crosses over to the Great Old One's realm, partakes in his flesh, he doesn't quite know, but this was eons ago. So he has had eons, decades, just doing his work, going out into the world, collecting tomes, scrolls, spell books, strange artifacts, just anything that can help further the Great Old One's
How old is
expansive knowledge. He doesn't know anymore.
he?
That knowledge has been forgotten because he only keeps knowledge that he deems essential. And knowledge about himself, he's only there to serve the Great Old One and to bring him more knowledge, bring him more power.
It makes sense. Let's transition a little bit into Malcor as the character, right?
Yeah, that's what I was going for. Right, so
all right.
Let's just say modern day Faerun, current time, wherever that is.
Let's talk about Malcor, the character, and put it really in Dungeons and Dragons terms, kind of how your build went, what you focused on, and just kind of sort of bring us up, how you started him off, and then sort of what he became.
Well, so I like to build my characters so they work in terms of stats, spells, all of that. And so one thing that became kind of apparent to me early on was warlocks are not, at least the patron that I chose is not the most damage oriented spellcaster. They're the one that I picked was more like illusion, deception, just weirdness, buffs, but not actually like damage. I believe that is the fiend patron, but so of course I just rolled and took my highest dice, put that on charisma, second highest, put it on dexterity, because when I picture Malcor, he's this real lithe character, so it makes sense that he's just really dodgy. Also, he doesn't really care about personal hygiene, so he's a bit slippery too. So if you try to grab him, you'll just have like ink all over your hands.
Right.
But so with spells, you can be really creative with spells in D&D. So I picked acid spray as a spell because you can use it to, if your DM allows.
Acid splash.
Splash.
Yeah.
Use it to melt locks, chains, ropes, anything that the acid can eat through, you can get through. Say you don't have a thief to pick this lock. There you go. And then I picked Mage Hand because it's just pure utility. It's a cantrip. You just throw it, grab.
So
amazing for interacting with things.
So with the acid splash, though, it's got to be like this black acid.
Oh yeah, it's just so Malcor, right? So the acid, it's some of his essence, some of his ichor, the old god's blood. Just the way he casts the spell is quite literally what I just did. He might blow a booger or just spit it. So, but all the power comes from within. There's no catalyst. There's no wand. There's no gun. It's literally.
So Malcor's kind of nasty.
He is disgusting.
Does he smell bad?
Oh yes. Hygiene is not even a remote concern of his. You don't need to be hygienic to read a book.
Sure.
Yeah. So, as I said, he has lost who Malcor really is.
So if we think about it, though, it's a little bit interesting in that being kind of a gross guy, and he's got a really high charisma. So how does that play?
Well, Malcor is, he's kind of he's a master wordsmith. Like people, if you listen to him long enough, you can be like, man, maybe this guy, while he's weird as heck and he's talking about all this craziness, he's really smart. So I think he's right. Malcor is just since he's incredibly bookish, he has all these incredible facts, some stories, anecdotes in his head. So while he's talking, people just assume, okay, he's right. I mean, this it's all this guy does is read books.
So it's like they're kind of grossed out by him, but at the same time, really kind of drawn to him,
Right.
just because of his ideas and a lot of the cool things he's able to do and things he's
Also,
able to come up with.
he's so gross and off-putting that he's hard to miss. He's like the elephant in the room. It's
Sure.
like, who threw up on the floor? Oh, that's a person laying on the floor reading a book.
But he's also got this great ability to kind of convince others to go along with his plans, to come up with good ideas, to kind of persuade people.
Right. He's
to intimidate people through his grossness.
Oh.
Yeah.
There was definitely a bit of that in our last campaign.
Sure.
A guy yawns, giant squid thing crawls out of his mouth. Guards run away.
Sure.
One more thing I would like to say. So we talked about how the acid splash looks.
Right.
Well, Mage Hand and any similar attack like that might be an extension or a melee.
Right.
It's a tentacle coming out of his body.
Right.
Or his arm is literally just a tentacle. He's lost his arm eons ago, and so he has replaced it with a piece of his patron, giant floppy tentacles.
It's like this this kind of tentacle just kind of appears, right?
Yep.
Almost like a pseudopod that some monsters have, where it just
just
kind of
picks it up. Yep.
What about Eldritch Blast?
Eldritch Blast.
Warlocks, Eldritch Blast.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Evil. Like it's literally like imagine a drop of oil that has like green electricity arcing off of it.
Sure.
Yep. And it looks disgusting in my brain. So, yep, his Eldritch Blast, just throwing a slime ball at him, but it's energized.
Sure. Wow. Yeah. Any other spells that you can remember?
So there's Hypnotic Pattern is a good one for Malcor.
Yeah.
So Malcor to cast Hypnotic Pattern will open up his robes and show whoever he's trying to hypnotize the creature within him. The piece of his god.
Like all this is like tentacles and a mass.
Just tentacles,
energy,
eyes, energy, just the unknowing void of just and everybody's just like, what is that? And then of course staring at it's probably like pulsing, showing like some lights that really like what? And maybe even looking at Malcor's true power, they see some of his knowledge, some things that give them a little madness too. So it's just like looking at the most horribly unimaginable thing possible, and that is his Hypnotic Pattern.
I say Malcor is one of the more unique characters, surely, that I've come across. All right, so we're going to call this Malcor Part 1, and we'll come back and revisit Malcor several more times, because there's a lot of depth to this character. But if you were to leave people with kind of one more core thing about Malcor that they could take with them, maybe an idea they might be able to use for their characters. Maybe not something they would take exactly, but just kind of a concept, an idea, something that, could really use.
I would have to say one good takeaway from Malcor is don't be afraid to do something weird, something off-putting, or something that's just like, okay, just...
Well, this is D&D, so
Yeah.
that really shouldn't be a problem.
Be memorable. Do things that the party will talk about for a while. I know that's not always easy in a flash.
So let's leave them with a parting shot with Malcor doing just a little bit of role play. Let's do something every D&D character is going to come across. This is Malcor coming across. You want to do like a patron in a bar, talking to the bartender, or coming across a guard?
A guard.
Okay. So the guards out there. It was a dark and stormy night, right? Always. So it's like a dark, stormy, kind of it's foggy. There's lightning in the background, and we'll just say it's a town guard, and just guarding the door to, let's just say it's some kind of a government facility that he needs to get into. And it's not a super important government facility, but there is a guard, and the door is locked. So Malcor's been sent to go deal with this deal with this guard. So as it starts to, guard's kind of standing there with his spear, got his cloak on. Guard is, it's cold, right? And it's just it's got that damp cold, and he's got a small little coal brazier he's trying to keep lit. And anyway, he sees this, I don't know, this weird kind of cloaked figure walking up. Actually, you can describe what Malcor looks like, but I'll say the guard's like, who goes there, citizen?
Ah, yes. Hello, citizen. I've heard that one before. Yes, good sir. How are you this morrow, yeah?
It's a bit cold and damp, I must say.
Yes, such as myself, quite cold and damp, cold and damp. Well, dear sir.
State your business.
Oh, my business. Well, my business, you see, is knowledge. And I think I have some knowledge you might be interested in.
Sir, it is the 11th hour.
Yes, yes. Do you know what your wife is doing at this 11th hour? I do.
Not married.
Well, that is a shame. Must have been your brother then. Well, dear sir, I will say, have you ever seen somebody do this before?
And Malcor then rolls up his sleeve.
So the guard kind of steps back a little bit because just take a moment. What does Malcor look like? So the guard's just got like a spear and a cloak. Really, he's not got much else. Some boots. He does have a shield, but that's it.
So Malcor is this, I would imagine.
What does he look like?
I imagine 5'6", hunched over, scrawny as can be, like skin and bones, old withered man. Looks sick, ill, maybe a few pustules, black veins going across his body. His eyes are kind of pale, a little greenish. Maybe a few crooked, nasty teeth with like some black like in there. And his robes are just rags. They're basically there so he doesn't constantly get arrested for public indecency.
Sure. So he's got these robes and
Tattered, just shredded to heck rags. Dark.
The guard's like, have you seen this? He's like,
Yep.
Oh, no. Just a parlor trick, good sir, parlor trick.
And then Malcor opens up his robe and shows him the being within and casts hypnotic pattern.
Have you seen my eye? Have you seen the pattern within? Gaze upon the pattern, sir. See your desires.
all right. So we'll say we roll. We'll say he fails the savings throw, and this anyway, this guard is just like horrified at what he sees, and just completely hypnotized, probably a little scared too for being like but what does he see? What is this? Just describe.
So this man would see the city in ages past. He would see a bloody battle between the forces of good and evil, but the forces of good are getting slaughtered, and he is seeing from the eyes of one of the guards who has been slaughtered, and the beings around him are nightmarish, unknowable. Everything is hopeless, and just sheer chaos and despair from the past. Malcor is showing this man the history of the area.
It's like some eyes and tentacles and energy and all that.
Oh, you were asking about the
yeah, what does
so the
hypnotic pattern actually look like? Like that's what he kind of like sees as this vision, I guess, too. But if you're like to just physically describe it, you did that a little bit before, but it's like eyes, tentacles,
right?
Energy.
So he pulls back his robe and he sees sprouting from a hole in Malcor's chest, this massive writhing tentacles, but they're not just like they're like swirling, making patterns, strange, like very psychedelic, but in a very bad way. Like eyes glowing, pulsing with unimaginable colors, like just truly the weirdest Lovecraftian thing you can think of, and it is on Malcor's chest doing the boogie. Just
All right. All right. So we'll leave our guard there, hypnotized, standing there with his spear, kind of freaked out, a little bit afraid, definitely not doing much while he's under the effect of this spell. So, all right. So Wyatt, thanks for bringing us Malcor, and viewers, come back soon, and we will hit it off with Malcor Part 2. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of the Art of Character podcast, where we publish new Dungeons and Dragons related content each and every week. If you want to support the channel, you can like, comment, or subscribe, or click below and you can join our Patreon, or click below and you can purchase something from our merch store, like this really cool t-shirt just like this. Anyway, thank you so much for joining us.